Good evening, Arnav and Bhumika.
Good evening, ma'am.
So today is going to be the last session of this concept, gravitation. And if you can remember what we have learned yesterday, we have learned the differences between acceleration due to gravity and gravitational constant. And then we have learned about the concepts mass and weight, and then understood the differences between them. And we have also seen how weight will be varying with respect to acceleration due to gravity. We also understood weightlessness, in what situations or in what cases objects will be experiencing weightlessness. This is all what we have learned yesterday, and today we are going to explore a very new concept, simple pendulum, which are related to acceleration due to gravity in some or the other way. So the very first concept we are going to learn is we're going to learn about simple pendulum. And what exactly is this simple pendulum? What kind of arrangement is called as a simple pendulum? If this is a support, a solid support or a rigid support, a heavy object, a kind of sphere attached to a lighter and inextensible string, which will not be extended because of this weight, which is non-stretchable and inextensible. A heavy object is hung to this non-stretchable string, and this string is supported here, and this system or this arrangement will be moving about this fixed point without friction. A heavy particle which is attached, which is actually hung from a support with the help of an inextensible string, and will be performing oscillations about a fixed point. Complete arrangement is called as simple pendulum. The effective length of the pendulum, the distance or the length from the support to the center of gravity of this bob, we call this as bob. This is called bob of simple pendulum. Now the distance or the length between the rigid support and the center of gravity of this bob will be called as effective length of the pendulum, and this is denoted by the letter L. And needless to say that actually this is called the mean position of the simple pendulum, undisturbed position, which is called mean position. Now when I pull this bob to a side, it can be to this left side or to the right side. If I just pull it aside and then leave, then it will start performing oscillations, a to and fro motion. So the bob will start performing oscillations, and when it is seen performing oscillations, it will be seen moving to these positions on both the sides. It moves up to this point, comes back, and then moves to the other side, then again comes back to its mean position, and because of the friction that is offered by the support, because this bob is attached to a rigid support and it is not actually free to do oscillations, at some point of time this will stop oscillating and will be coming back to its original position. But of course it will take certain time for it to set back. So the original position or the undisturbed position of the pendulum is called mean position, and the maximum extent, to the maximum extent it can go, if this is that maximum extent position, this is called as extreme position. This is the maximum extent to which this bob will be oscillating. If this position is A, if this position is B, then first it starts from A, goes to B, come back to A, and then goes to another position, come back to A, goes to B again. So it will be oscillating, it will be performing to and fro motion about this fixed point, about this mean position. So what is oscillation? The important terms related to simple pendulum you have to understand. So what is oscillation? As I already told, what is oscillation? Are you there?
Ma'am, the movement of pendulum from its mean position to extreme.
It is simply said as to and fro motion. to and fro motion of a particle or the bob here actually. The bob is performing this to and fro motion. So oscillation is defined as to and fro motion. And then next comes, what is the time period of the pendulum? What is called as time period of this pendulum?
Time taken to complete one oscillation.
Very good. Time taken to complete one oscillation. And by the way, what is this oscillation? How can you count one oscillation? Is this going from A to B is called as one oscillation, or going from A to B and then returning back is called an oscillation, or starting from A, going to B, coming back to A, going to C, and then coming back to A is called oscillation. Did you understand?
AOBO.
Exactly. One oscillation is counted from mean position, going to the extreme right, coming back, going to extreme left, and coming back. This is considered to be one oscillation. Or if I'm actually confused to count the number of oscillations from this point, then I can start from any of the extreme positions. So if I am considering B, and let me take C as the other extreme position on the left side. So starting from B, if I can count one oscillation, it is like going to C and then coming back to B. Makes one oscillation. Okay. Or if at all you're counting it from A, it is like going to B, back to A, going to C, and back to A. So it will be like A, B, A, C, A. Or if at all you're pulling it to the left side, if you're disturbing it, pulling it to the left side, then the oscillation will be counted as A, C, A, B, A again. So that is taken as one oscillation, and the time taken for one oscillation is called as time period. And this is denoted by the letter capital T. So time taken to complete one oscillation is called as time period. And then comes frequency. Now here I'm actually taking oscillation, number of oscillation as a constant and calculating time. Now I'm going to keep time constant and will be counting number of oscillations. And the time I'm taking as a standard is 1 second. So the number of oscillations made by this simple pendulum in 1 second is defined as frequency of the simple pendulum. I repeat it once again. Number of oscillations made by the pendulum in 1 second is defined as frequency of the pendulum. So now here I'm taking the time to be constant, which is 1 second, and I'll be counting on number of oscillations. Now previously, I have taken only one oscillation and counted the number of seconds it is taking. Here I go completely reverse to that. So frequency is number of oscillations per second. Number of oscillations per second is defined as frequency. So by now you have understood what is meant by simple pendulum, what is the arrangement of a simple pendulum, what is called as mean position, what is called as extreme position, and then we have also understood the terms related to simple pendulum like oscillation, time period, and frequency. And then next comes effective length. What is this effective length? What is considered as effective length of the simple pendulum? What is called as effective length? I already told you this.
The length of string of pendulum.
No, yeah. Now this is the point from where I am hanging the pendulum. Now every object is said to have a center of gravity. Like for humans, it is just above the navel point. As such, this sphere is also having a center of gravity. Now the length is considered, the length from calculated from the supporting point till the center of gravity of the pendulum. So starting from here till here is considered to be the effective length of the pendulum. So it is the length of the length measured from the rigid support till the center of gravity of the bob. This is considered as effective length and is denoted by L. And then comes amplitude. Coming to amplitude. If I'm pulling this simple pendulum to extreme left and then leaving, to what extent I'm pulling it to the left, to the same extent it will be going towards right. So, if at all I am pulling this to this extent on this side, then the pendulum will be moving to that extent on the right side also, because I mean that is actually a conservation of energy. For that reason, it will be seen oscillating in this manner. But anyway, so this is the maximum extent to which a pendulum or the bob can move. If a bob is disturbed from its mean position, there is a certain extent to which it can reach to either sides. And this maximum extent is defined as amplitude,
Displacement.
which means the maximum displacement of the bob. So if at all it is seen here, now the displacement is, now if I can draw a line here, now starting from here to here will become the maximum displacement. As it is not going further, this becomes the maximum displacement. Anything below that is not maximum displacement. Hope you are understanding. To what extent, to what maximum extent it can go to either sides, that is calculated as maximum displacement, and that maximum displacement is called as amplitude. So I will be simply writing it as maximum displacement of the bob. From where? From mean position. Maximum displacement of the bob from the mean position is defined as amplitude of simple pendulum. I hope you have understood till this point. Please respond. Arnav and Bhumika.
Yes, ma'am.
Sahas. Sahas, are you there in the class? And there is a special kind of simple pendulum we are now going to learn called as seconds pendulum. The name of that pendulum is called seconds pendulum. Can you guess the reason why it is called seconds pendulum?
Ma'am, maybe the length of the pendulum would be different.
Maybe very particular. Different definitely can be specific, having a specific value. So see, a seconds pendulum is a simple pendulum whose time period is 2 seconds. The pendulum whose time period is 2 seconds. What is meant by this? It means that it takes 2 seconds for completing one single oscillation. To complete one single oscillation, this pendulum will take 2 seconds, and that pendulum hence called seconds pendulum. What is the time period is 2 seconds. And for this pendulum, the effective length, I mean for the time period to be 2 seconds, the effective length of the pendulum will be approximately 1 meter, or in other words, I can say it as 100 centimeters. For the time period to be 2 seconds, the length of the string or the effective length of the pendulum should be 1 meter or 100 centimeters. Did you understand? So this is one kind of pendulum called a seconds pendulum whose time period is 2 seconds with the above mentioned specifications. And now let us see how to calculate time period. I mean, is it only by taking a stopwatch and calculating the number of oscillations? Oh, I mean, taking particular time and then counting number of oscillations, or is there any method to calculate time period? There is a way to calculate this time period mathematically. After a series of experiments, it's been found that the time period of a seconds pendulum will be directly proportional to square of the length of the pendulum. Square root of, I'm sorry. It is seen that time period of a pendulum, it can be any pendulum. It can be any simple pendulum. It's been observed in a in a series of experiments that the time period of the simple pendulum will be directly proportional to square root of length of the simple pendulum. Also, I mean, what exactly does this mean? If length of the pendulum is more, then time period will also, I mean, if length increases, if I increase the effective length of the pendulum, time period also increases. If the effective length of the pendulum decreases, then time taken by it for one oscillation also decreases. So if L increases, T increases. If L decreases, T decreases. So that is how they are related. They're directly proportional to each other and specifically square root of length. Also, the time period of a simple pendulum is found to be inversely proportional to square root of acceleration due to gravity. Time period of a simple pendulum is also found to be inversely proportional to square root of acceleration due to gravity, which means if G increases, time period decreases. The reason being it is inversely proportional. And vice versa, which means if G decreases, time period increases. Understood? So these are the two factors which are affecting the value of time period of a given pendulum. When I combine both of them, I can write them as T is proportional to root over L by G, or simply I can write it as T equal to 2 pi root L by G, where L is the effective length of the pendulum and G is acceleration due to gravity. 2 pi is a constant here which is called proportionality constant. So this is the expression used to calculate time period of a pendulum. This is the expression used to calculate time period of a pendulum. I repeat once again, L is the effective length of the pendulum. G is acceleration due to gravity of the pendulum. And time period, of course, is measured in seconds. So just now we have learned about a seconds pendulum. If you consider this expression, substitute T value as 2 seconds and take G value to be 9.8, then by further simplification, you will understand that, I mean, you will get a value of L to be approximately 100 centimeters. You get the value of L as 100 centimeters. If you plot a graph between L and T, if you plot a graph between L and T, which is length of the pendulum and time period of the pendulum, as I already told you that they are related, like T is proportional to square root of effective length. Now, if I draw a graph between T and L, see, I'm not taking T and root L. I'm just taking T and L. If a graph is plotted against L and T, taking L on y-axis and T on x-axis, you get a graph which is not a straight line. A graph which is plotted against a plane T and plane L is not a straight line. But if you plot a graph between root L and T, if you plot a graph between root L and T, it is a straight line, and the shape of the graph will be something like that. See, here I'm just taking L and T, but here I'm taking root L and T. Also, if I take the value of L and T square, I'm removing square root here and I'm squaring the time period. Then, so if I plot a graph between L and T square, this is also a straight line which will be seen something like this. So when a graph is plotted between a plane L and plane T, it is not a straight line, but in other cases you can see the graph will be a straight line.